And in Cherokee, the Judaculla comes out Judaculla. Judaculla. And what that means is that like a long object like this, leaning against something. If I were going to describe this cane in Cherokee, I would say Judaculla. Judaculla. Judaculla then means he has them leaning. If I had two canes up here and you ask who do those belong to, they would say Tom Judaculla.
Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. I'm getting set to rock and roll, going on a field trip today. Pushing all my little buttons here. All these buttons, everything's a button. But anyway, hey, we're going on a fun field trip with the Cherokee Language Youth Program and Camp over in North Carolina. Well, I am. And these kids are just the best. So I thought I would take you along for the ride. Let's get on the road. Okay, so I made it over the Dragon, made it over 129, and I'm in Robbinsville. I don't know how I got behind a wood chipper. I get behind the strangest things when I drive the Dragon. It's really bizarre. Wood chippers, bass boats, moving trucks. I don't know. It's like I think the Lord's trying to slow me down. But again, I can find a wood chipper to be there for you on the Dragon, but you can't get none to deliver to your house. But we're gonna have fun today. We're here, kids are getting here, so let's see what we're doing. Which one's yours? These are yours? So you did all of these? Can I hold one? Look at that. Good night. That is awesome. How long did it take for you to make these? Do you remember? It's a guess? Okay. All right.
You don't have eyes because he's too fuzzy. This is his fur. You can see it.
So what would we do? Say waffle is just gadu? It's a what? Eggo my Lego girlfriend.
You can work. It was just a nice turn. I know.
I think that's what caused a lot of swirls.
Way back before anybody can remember, almost maybe at the beginning of time, there was a giant that lived in these mountains, and he was the first one that was here. We weren't here yet. And there was nothing here except plants, animals, birds, fish, all the things that live on the earth were here. But we weren't here yet as human beings. And he was here to sort of, almost like a park ranger. His job was to take care of all the things that each of the other things couldn't take care of. Plants can't walk, but he could walk. He could carry things. We know that bears and stuff can carry things, but he could move things and he could go from place to place. And he also had kind of like superpowers. He could jump for long distances. Like for example, he could jump from the top of mountains all the way over to the other mountains. He was a giant. And his job was to take care of the earth, was to go in between any kind of things that might happen, kind of like a park ranger. If there was something wrong, then he'd do his best to try and fix it. And his eyes had, you know, the round parts of our eyes they call a pupil, the very center part of your eyes that are real dark. His weren't round, his were long, kind of like a cat. And they were like this, they say. And so that's where they got the word Judaculla. He has them slanted. But he lived in these mountains, as the story goes. And here in this valley, one of the stories that's told about him is that when human beings finally came, he stayed for a while. He stayed for a while to teach human beings how to live here because he knew how to do that. He knew how to take care of the animals. He knew all that kind of stuff. And his job within, when the Creator put us here, then his job was to teach us what he knew so that we'd be able to survive, so we'd be able to live, because we didn't know anything about how to live here. We had to learn from him. We had to learn from the animals. We had to learn from everything. We had to learn. We had to learn, how to live here, and not do any harm to ourselves or anything else, because that's the way you're supposed to do stuff. You're not supposed to go around hurting things, using things up, destroying things. You have to learn how to live with everything, and live in a peaceful and harmonious way, and in a healthy way. And that's what we were trying to learn. We were to learn from him. That's what he was going to teach us. And one day somebody was doing something wrong. Some hunters had killed too many deer, something like that. They'd killed too, and he found out about it. They say from Devil's Courthouse, which is right over that mountain. It's not like right over that mountain. It's quite a ways from here. That's what Europeans that came here called it, because they didn't understand who he was. He wasn't a devil. He wasn't anything like that. He was actually a guardian. And that place they called Devil's Courthouse was actually that was Judaculla's home. And when he found out what people were doing, he jumped, they say, from, is it called Looking Glass? It's called Looking Glass Mountain, isn't it? Over there by Bavard. From Looking Glass Mountain, he jumped from there all the way over those mountains. And he jumped to here, because this is where they were doing it someplace. And he jumped here, and when he landed somewhere here, and his handprint, if you can kind of make it out, his handprint is visible here. And there are, some say there are 6 fingers, some say there are 7, but his handprint is here. There's his hand, and there's the marks of his fingers. And he landed here and made those marks, they say. Of course, he stopped what was going on, but many years later, because this mark was here, our people then began to understand that it was really important to keep these things as a reminder of how to live and how to do stuff. And so a town was made here. People began to live here. And after a while, when he realized that now it was his time to go and his time to leave, before he left, they say he went west. Before he left, that giant, he came back here, and because they held this thing as being sacred where his handprint was, they say he's the one who put marks on this rock. He scratched them out. And he put marks on here, but these aren't just marks. He just didn't mark it up like that. He, in fact, put this stuff on here to mark several things. To mark, they say, things that could be in the sky, like, for example, stars. There's also the markings of places where there are things that we can find that we need, maybe even certain kinds of medicines, maybe other kinds of holy places, sacred places where things are that we should know about, and lines indicating where things are. And over there, you can probably see it better on those maps up there when you all get a chance to look at it. But there's an ear of corn. There's a figure of a man maybe a couple of men. And there are different kinds of men. There's like a man here too, with a cross mark. And here, a spiral thing.
Okay.
And there are other things here. There are other markings. You can spend, I've been here for, well, it's now been 30 years I've been here. But every time I come out here, a lot of times I stand there and look at this, I always see something new. I always see something different. You have to study it and kind of watch it for a long period of time. But there are all kinds of things, and the old people said that there are markings of places in the sky, stars and things like that. There are markings of, and there are supposed to be things that are here on the earth. And also there are things that are underneath the ground too. So it's like a 3-layered map. It's like a 3-dimensional map of the different things they say. And I'm only saying they say because we don't really know for sure. Real simple things that people all over the earth believe in and have been taught. We are to take care of each other. We are to make sure that we hold each other as family. We're to make sure that nobody goes hungry, that we are supposed to help one another. And that we're here to do that. And we're supposed to take care of the world around us. Well, we're beginning to understand how important taking care of each other and how caring for each other is. I'm not for sure we've done a real good job of taking care of the earth, but maybe that's part of our experience here. Maybe we'll learn from it. I think we are learning though, and I think there are lots of things that are going to happen in the future that's going to say it's going to change things around. But this is what this rock means. And it's been here for thousands of years, for sure. Now you can't date rock like you can, like if you had a bone or if you had a piece of pottery and stuff, you could date that with carbon dating. Well, you can't date stone. So we don't exactly know, well, this rock's been here since the beginning of time, since God created the earth. But these markings, we can't tell you exactly when they were put on it. And the story that I'm telling you is about one story that we have of who put these marks on here.
Giant.
And he put them on there for us. This is like a book. This isn't just some kind of pictures. This is actually like a book. And it maybe, just maybe, if we could learn how to read this, if we could remember what this says, if we could understand what it says, maybe our lives would be better. Maybe we would understand where things are. Maybe we could understand a little bit more about how to live here. This is how important this is. And for thousands of years, like I said, people were sent here to study this rock, take it back to their towns, teach them. For thousands of years, our people honored and respected this valley here and this place. And this place, this rock then, is more than just a rock sticking on the side of a mountain someplace in western North Carolina. This rock is actually a part of our lives. Each and every one of you who are Cherokee, each and every one of you who are Judaculla, this rock is a part of your history. It's soapstone. And for years and years and years, our people used to use soapstone to make pipes. You know those black stone pipes? I don't know if you ever seen one. But those pipes like that. But a long time ago, we also, the people also used to make pots out of these rocks like this. And these rocks are all over the mountain. I mean, this kind of stone, soapstone. And when they would find that soapstone, sometimes they would make pots out of it or bowls. And they would cook in them because this kind of stone, when it's hot, if you ever touched if you guys have ever seen a pipe, soapstone pipe and stuff, when you light and stuff, it stays hot for a long time and it doesn't crack, it doesn't break. You can put it in fire and it won't crack. So a long, long time ago, we don't know how long ago, they were, they used these stones and they were going to make stone bowls out of these. and this is what's called bowling. And what they would do is they would take a place like this, and you can see some of it where it was flat, and then they would mark it out, and then they would begin to chip it out. And here you can see they almost got it done. Here they all a little bit less, and here they just started. They were different sizes, but they would have chipped down all the way around there and chipped underneath it, and then taken that rock out, and then they would begin to chip here and stuff, and they would have bowled it out and smoothed it out, and this is what they would have made bowls out of. This line here will point straight towards what is called Panther Town, and it stands at the eastern gate of the of what we would consider the eastern gate of what was once the original heartland of our people, which kind of was along the valleys of the Tuckasegee, which is right over here. The Little Tennessee, it starts in Ravens Gap. Those two rivers converge and they form into the Nantahala, which makes the Hiawassee, which goes down by Murphy. But this line here, being as how it's here at the headwaters of the Tuckasegee, points towards Panther Town. And Panther Town then is one of the oldest places that we know too.